Welcome to another edition of the Burrow podcast. I'm your host, Josh, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mark Rayner. Mark, how you feeling, mate?
Feeling really good, buddy. Feeling really good. I got my appointment with the orthopedic surgeon tomorrow, mate, to see about getting back to work. So yeah, very excited about that, mate. It's been a little while and
You'd be
starting to get
bouncing
itchy
off
feet.
walls, wouldn't you? Wouldn't know what to do with yourself.
Yep. So it's just been doing as much training as I can, mate, and setting the business up as well. The good thing is it's been able to give me a little bit of time doing that, mate. So everything's coming along nicely. So
How long have you been off work
excited.
now?
About a month and a half,
I think the missus has had enough of you at home now, has she? Ready for the...
Yeah, I think so. If I was her, I'd have enough of me too, mate. So yeah, it's time to get back to work. So I'll be doing all I can. I'll be pushing them.
Well, we got the team list that was announced today, just dropped not long ago, and we got a few surprises there. But sorry, I'll just get the team up now. But the fullbacks, Jai Gray, Alex Johnston, Bailey Bentley-Harpe are the wingers, Zaya Tass and Tallis Duncan in the centres, Ashton Ward and Jamie Humphries make up the halves, Jai Arrow and Sean Kepi in the front row with Sliver Harvili the starting hooker, Ewan Aiken, Jacob Host on the edge, Lachlan Hubner is in the number 13, Pete Mamazelos, Liam LeBlanc, Brandon Smith, Thomas Fletcher make up the bench. On the extended bench is Tyrone Munro, Talanoa Panatane, Celestia Tata, Shaq Mitchell and also Latrell Mitchell with Wayne Bennett coaching. What do you make of that side, Mark?
Yep. I think under the circumstances, mates, it's the best we can do. I wasn't very impressed with I mean, you guys discussed it in the review, but my 2 cents are made that it was a very ordinary second half. It's like they just threw the towel in the rack, mate, and just didn't bother anymore. And the Broncos would just be able to slice us open like a hot knife through butter. Sorry. So yeah, pretty ordinary. But you know, they get to sort of try and redeem themselves somewhat against what is a pretty good pretty good Titans side that's been playing some footy of late.
I mean, I think the problem wasn't so much that that there weren't players out there trying, because there certainly were players out there trying. It was probably more the efforts of the more experienced players that was a disappointing part last week. But they find themselves in the side again this week, probably through necessity with the injury crisis we're through. But we do welcome back some players. Brandon Smith back on the bench. He's going to be great having him back. Jamie Humphries and Pete Mamazelos both back from that HIO stand down, which they missed 2 games from.
Yep, certainly having those lads back in will help. So yeah, like I said, mate, the blokes that didn't really put in a shift last week have a little bit of an opportunity to atone for that this week. So
it's interesting because on the extended bench, Latrell Mitchell's named. And he said a couple of weeks ago that he is a chance of playing this game. We'll find out We'll find out on Saturday, captain's run, whether he's playing or not. I think they'll leave it until then to make a decision. But where do you see him coming in?
Mate, I think you're definitely right. They will wait until Saturday to make that call, which is the right thing to do. Mate, he'll go straight back to his usual spot at the back, mate. And what Wayne does with Jai Gray after that, whether he sticks him on the bench or I don't really know. Probably not. Seems as though he's carrying Mamazoulis and Brandon Smith there as it is. But yeah, if Latrell's fit, Latrell will be playing in full.
I mean, could they hold off for a week, putting him at fullback and maybe putting him in the centres this week? Moving Tallis Duncan to the back row and probably dropping Jacob Host after his performance last week.
Could be, yeah, mate, absolutely. I mean that's probably that's probably where I'd play Latrell anyway, mate. To be fair, but you know, Uncle Wayne works in mysterious ways, mate. So I guess we'll just have to wait until the captain's run and get an idea. No doubt the boys from Rabbitohs Radio will be out at the captain's run on Saturday, so they might tip us up.
Well, I'm probably different from you because I think fully fit Latrell's our best fullback, and just the way he creates, we struggled to score points when we got Jai at fullback, but I mean, it's no fault of his own because he hasn't had much help in this period. But even at the start of the year, when we had somewhat of a decent side, we were defending really well. We were defending ourselves out of games, but few games we won where we only scored 2, maybe 3 tries, whereas with Latrell at fullback, I just feel there's more creativity there. His ability to get the ball out to AJ, cut 3 or 4 guys out in a pass. I think that's where he's got it over Jai Gray there. But for this week, through our injury crisis that we've had, I think that's more through necessity that I'd possibly look at him playing there. But I'd even consider getting him to play that role that Tom Trebojevic played in the State of Origin, where he was a roaming centre, where he popped up on the other side, that sort of thing. But I mean, who knows? He may not even play, so we don't know what happens there.
Yeah, and I think, mate, he's the kind of player that could just do that anyway, mate. You know what I mean? Even if he did start in the centre spot. But yeah, I think you're right, mate. Like if he's fit, he's our fullback. Wayne said that on numerous occasions that's where he's best suited. So just remains to be seen, mate. We'll see how he goes on Saturday.
You mentioned the bench before with both Brandon Smith and Pete Mamouzelos on the bench. Yet we have Saliva Harville starting. I'm not sure, but maybe it's because they've had a few weeks off themselves and want to get them to wait until the game's kind of got into the groove a bit before he puts them on. But I'm not a fan of Liver starting at hooker, and I see him more as a middle now. And since we got both Brandon Smith and Pete Mamouzelos there, I think that's where we can best use them. Although I also loved when Brandon Smith did come on in his second stint against Manly, playing in that back row position. It was him alone that opened up and were able to score points off the back of it.
Yeah. Smithy's very versatile in that aspect, mate, where he can play anywhere in that anywhere, probably except prop, to be fair. And Havili you're right. I think he's more that he's definitely more that middle role now, and due to the chunkiness of the lad, you could probably use him as a bit of a battering ram up front as well if you really needed to. So he adds a little bit of versatility. But yeah, I agree with you, mate. I'm not a massive fan of him starting. I think if Mamouzelos is fit, that he should be starting the game, and then Havili can come off the bench and just play as required.
Well, we've also got we got Lewis Dodd. He hasn't been named at all. I don't think we're really surprised by that. You just have to listen to Wayne's press conferences to see. But Ashton Ward gets another shot, which I really like. He showed a little bit of spark, didn't he? And that chase that he put on Jordan Ricky just shows the effort areas that we're asking for in this time.
Yeah, 100%, mate. You know what? I like the lad, mate. I think he's got a big future. The first grade is a hell of a lot different to New South Wales Cup, which is again a hell of a lot different to flag and mats, etc. Just the speed of the contest, I think it'll take him a little bit of time to get used to that, as it just about does everybody who comes and makes that jump into first grade. But he's showing all the signs that and he reminded me a hell of a lot of when Luke Keary first came into grade. So very
I've heard a few
promising.
people mention the likeness with Luke Keary, and it's there for all to see. A very young Luke Keary when he was playing NYC for us, and he came in, I think it was 2013, he came in and he played a few games, didn't he? Luke Keary came off the bench a couple of times, so he got that experience, and he went away and he worked on his game in the off season. Then, unfortunately for him, he got injured in the Nines tournament. And he was out for it, but he came back and he just added a new dimension, didn't he, to our run to the finals in 2014.
Yeah, he sure did, mate. He was very, very crafty, very creative, and him, Reynolds, and Johnny Sutton, mate, they just combined so beautifully. And then, of course, you had Big GI at the back. Mate, it was just it was poetry in motion, mate. So yeah, the young fella reminds me a hell of a lot of a young Luke Keary. That's for sure.
Well, we see that Sean Kepi's kept his spot in the front row. You want to see better efforts than what he put in last week when that loose ball there where he just batted it down. They're the sort of efforts that creep into his game. And the last couple of weeks before that, I didn't think he was too good against Cronulla, but the week before that, I thought he played a really good game. He led from the front. He still made over 100 metres last week, which you want to see from your starting prop, but it's just the effort areas from him and Jacob Hosek you want to see improve this week.
Yeah, he's you know, my thoughts on the big fella are pretty well known. I think he's you know, he has a good game in him, and then 3 or 4 lazy ones. If you want to make a name for yourself in the NRL, you can't be doing stuff like that, mate. You don't see, you know, Fanua Blake, Payne Haas, you know, blokes of that ilk have lazy games, and when they do, they're still running over 150 metres. And, you know, like even when Keon, like before Keon got injured, we were talking about how, you know, I think the game before he got injured, he ran 150 metres, and we probably class that as a pretty lazy game from Keon. You know what I mean? They're the kind of stats that you, as a front rower, especially a starting front rower, that you need to be putting out. And I don't know, mate. I just don't think Big Kepi has the minerals to be a starting front rower.
We'll
in
move
the
on
NRL.
to the Gold Coast Titans, and they've had a good run of late. They finally got a win a couple of weeks ago against the Warriors, a good win there over in New Zealand. And then they pushed Penrith all the way, and it was Golden Point. It was only a freakish 2-point field goal from Nathan Cleary that put the game into Golden Point, but that's what happened. But I'm hoping similar to what happened to us against the Sharks, that close loss, and we had it against the Melbourne Storm, how much it hurts them, and hopefully they'll come out and have a shocker this week. But a few weeks ago, it was looking like, well, this is a game that we could put that, yeah, we're going to win it. We cop a whole heap of injuries. They turned their form around, and here we are. We're underdogs for this game.
Yeah, the Spoon Bowl, mate. It is upon us. But yeah, I mean, mate, look, they're hitting a little bit of a purple patch of form at the moment, mate, and you know, we're continuing to get kicked in the guts with injuries and so on and so forth. But this game is well and truly still there to be won, mate, and I'm really hoping that the boys can have a massive dig and get the job done for us.
You got threats in that back line. AJ Brimson at the back. You got Jaden Campbell, Kieran Foran steering them around really well, but Jojo Fafita in the centres. He's just gone to another level now, hasn't he, since he's moved to the centres?
Yeah, he has, mate. You know, he always had that look about him. I think he was sort of somewhat, I don't know, I suppose, but he first came into grade. You know, an outside back usually sort of goes straight to the wing to sort of prove themselves. But mate, he's a world class player, mate, and and he's heading into some very, very good form. And you know, Sammy out, Khan Pereira in. Yeah, they've just got they've got strike everywhere, mate. And if our marker defence, if we're going to lose the ruck, mate, and our markers aren't working and our line speed shit, mate, then they'll absolutely carb some new one, no problems.
We want to see the sort of efforts that we did see against the Melbourne Storm, that we did see against the Sharks that game. That's where we want our defence to be at. Get a few things right that we got wrong in the Cronulla game, like the catching the high balls, things like that, and we'll be giving ourselves every shot to win that game. The thing is, the difference that I see compared to the Sharks is the Sharks weren't really throwing anything at us, but the Titans will. And we just got to hope that their balls aren't connecting. If that happens, maybe we'll be able to defend that. But having Brandon Smith back is a big in. Pete Mamazelis, Jamie Humphries, hopefully Latrell plays, and they could be really big ins for us. And who knows, we've got a great record there, and we've got a great record there at Cbus. It's been a while since we've lost there. It's been a while since we lost to the Titans, so we've got a really good run at the moment. But as you know, all runs come to an end, but hopefully it's not this weekend.
Yeah, that'd be nice, mate. It'd be nice to, you know, at least taste one more victory before the end of the year. We're coming up against some teams after the Titans that they're starting to hit some pretty good forms. Yeah, so this is a must win for us, mate. And if we don't win this one, I think it's pack the bags and head to 2026, lads, because I don't think we'll be tasting
Well,
victory again
your
this year.
prediction a few weeks ago, I wasn't too far off with my prediction. I didn't envision that we'd have that many injuries, but I predicted that we'd beat the Sharks. I was very close there, but you were very confident a few weeks ago. Again, you didn't expect the injuries we had, but you predicted the Gold Coast. So let's see. Hopefully your prediction back then comes to fruition this week.
I also said AJ would break the try scoring record against St George too, but
Hey, hat trick this week. You never know. And in Indigenous round, round
hat-trick
next
this
week,
never know.
he's got a few hat tricks in Indigenous round. So you never know. But if he does get a couple this week, your prediction of doing it at a core is certainly in the mix. Especially if Latrell does play. If he plays, you think he's every chance of a try.
100%, mate. 100%. I mean, against the Titans, mate, I'll probably expect him to score one anyway. So Khan Pereira is a brilliant attacking weapon, mate, but defensively a little bit how you doing? Who's the bloke on the other side?
The group. He's the other winger there, Jalen de Groot.
Yeah, he's only a young fella, mate, as well, and there can be some mistakes out of him. So Johnson or Harpe should be able to get a meat pie, hopefully each, against those outside men this week. So yeah, we'll see what happens, mate.
Go to our weekly segment, Cody's weekly stats. Hit it, Cody.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Cody's Footy Stats. This week we are taking on the Gold Coast Titans at Seabus Super Stadium, kicking off on Sunday, 2 o'clock p.m. We have played 23 games against the Titans. We have won 17. The Titans have won 6. We have won the last 9 in a row against the Titans. Titans have not beaten us since 2016, which that was over in Perth. They won 29-28. We have also won our last 9 games in a row at Seabus Stadium. We haven't lost at Seabus since 2012 against the Titans, or 2009. That was their only win against us there. The Rabbitohs have scored a total of 346 points at Seabus Super Stadium versus the Titans, which that's an average point of 31 games per average. Titans have never won 13 plus against us. In our last 3 out of 5 games we played at Seabus, we have scored 40 points or more in 3 of those games. The highest attendance we've had for a Titans game was 20,392, and that was in 2013, where the Rabbitohs won 32 points to 4. Where there have been 11 games at Seabus Super Stadium against each other. Rabbitohs have won 10, which is 10 in a row, and Titans have only won once. Our biggest win against the Titans was in 2024, our last game against them, where we won 46-12. And our biggest losses, yes, there are 2 losses against the Titans, 22-14, both in 2009 by 8 points. Alex Johnson has scored 14 tries in total against the Titans. AJ has scored 8 tries in his last 5 games against the Titans, which includes getting 2 hat-tricks in 2 out of his last 3 games versus the Titans. And ladies and gentlemen, go to Rabbitohs.
Thank you, Cody. So we're playing this week up at Gold Coast. I've quite often talked about this as being a home game for us because every time we outnumber them in the fans. I know there's a bit of rain around. I had a look at the weather forecast and there's a bit of rain around this weekend up there, but I don't think that'll stop the Queensland fans up there, the members and fans up there from attending. They quite often do, although maybe a few more Titans fans will turn up this time because they've had a bit of good form, but every time we've gone up there, we've outnumbered them, haven't we?
Yeah, 100%, mate. You're right. It has felt like a little bit of a home ground at times up there, especially in that nice golden patch that we had there in the 2012, 13, 14, mate. Like there were some outstanding crowds. But even more recently, a couple of years ago, that Loz and I were up there, mate. It was still a pretty good turnout. Yeah, and we weren't travelling all that great then either, but mate, they always have a dig, mate. The the Queensland-based supporters, and we certainly appreciate them when they
Well,
when
this
they
is
do.
this is a trip that I always recommend for fans to go to. It's probably the best trip to go to. I mean, I'd love to go to Townsville again. It's been quite a while since we've been up there. We've only played at that new venue twice, and both times we played up there, it was COVID lockout, so we couldn't get into Queensland. Obviously, the one in 2020, I think we played the Cowboys up there, or maybe it was, I don't know, one of those years. But then 21, the prelim final, we were stuck down here in low COVID lockdown ourselves again. So that's one ground I want to go to, and I always loved the weekend up there. I always loved the weekend up in Cairns. The venue itself was quite shocking, but Gold Coast is one of those affordable trips for people, and also it can be family friendly as well. You've got the theme parks there, can make a few days out of it, and I know many fans over the year have come up. The Burrow has had big numbers over the years. It's dwindled now a little bit, but where they've dwindled, the Queensland fans come and join us. We've met a lot of great people there. Even after the game last week, stopped chatting to a few of the locals up there, and hopefully getting them to come with us. So we're getting more and more people up there that are filling in the roles of those that don't come up anymore.
Yeah, that's really good, mate. That's fantastic to hear that. Yeah, they're wonderful, wonderful people, mate. And like even the Titans fans themselves are great people, mate. I've never had a single drama when I've been up there with any of them getting lippy, or mainly because they've been on
Well,
the
if we
opposite end
lose
of the
this week, we may
scoreboard.
find out.
But no, they're always good for a bit of a laugh, mate, and a beer with, and yeah, they're just
Well,
good,
speaking
genuine
of fans,
mate.
What about the Tigers players giving it to the Bulldogs fans? And yeah, I don't know whether the fans that they did it to, but there's a lot of outrage about that now. What are your thoughts about players giving it back to the fans that give it to them all game?
I love it. What's wrong with it? Don't be so soft, mate. Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? Like you spend the entire game, wishing to have relations with the players' mothers for the entire game, and then as soon as they give it back to you, like you want to bung on a soot.
Didn't we have
Wake
that? I
up
think it was
yourselves.
2013. We were giving it to Greg Bird, didn't we? And he kind of gave it back to us, but it was all good and banter. Like we weren't going, oh, how dare you? We just gave it back to him tenfold after that, didn't we?
We loved it. We loved it, mate. Everyone was laughing, and he was laughing as well. And it was just one of those things, mate. Like it was banter, and it was funny banter. We said things to him that'd make a sailor blush, but he took it on the chin, similar to his boot and Shane Martini. But it was all in good fun, mate.
Speaking of games up there, what are some of your most memorable games there up in the Gold Coast?
Yeah, for me, mate, it would be 2023. I really loved that one. I think that was, I don't know, I can't remember now, 32 to 4. In 2013, that was the Greg Bird.
Yeah, it was quite funny him giving it back to us on the receiving end of a bad scores. Sam Burgess had a big game that day. I know he scored a double.
He did, yeah. Yeah, he did, mate. And I remember just behind the goalpost there, but before they sort of blocked that off, and the entire, mate. I remember turning around with you and doing the chants and all that sort of stuff, mate. And it was just an absolute sea of red and green in behind there.
How good was it? That's when they all joined in with us.
Mate.
That was just awesome.
Yeah, that was just, mate, having the Rabbitoh army just going off. Mate, that was spectacular. That's still probably one of my most favourite, aside from the prelim in the grand final. That was probably my favourite moment in the Burrow as well.
Was it the coach John Cartwright then? And he commented on the South fans that day. He couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
He goes, he spoke about it in the press conference so much. I mean, that's what we'd love to get the Burrow beam back to, and hopefully we do. Start winning getting a few more younger people in. Hopefully that can happen. But any other memorable games?
Yeah, 2014 as well, mate. Where Dill Walks got the 4. He was unstoppable that game, mate. They had no answer to him. And mate, they're probably the two standouts for me, mate. I think because we just had the most fun. They were great trips away. I remember the one where I went to take the shit in the bathroom and you opened up the blinds on me.
That was one of those years. What was weird? No, that was remember Rob having a shower, and for some reason they had the blinds on the outside. There was a window where the shower was, and they had the blinds. And he was blushing after that. He was like, oh. I guess we found out that day why they gave him the nickname Little Johnny South.
yeah, he covered himself up with a tissue. It was all right.
But these are the sort of funs and the sort of memories that we've got that we hope that a lot of the younger guys that start going get to experience. And the bigger the group, the more fun you had. Remember the year in the Gold Coast where it was it was me, you, and Johnny South. It may have been the same year, or I'm not sure, but me, you, Johnny, and South, we had a room, and then all of a sudden that night, Chris Durness, Johnny Young, a few others. There was like about 5 of them because they had a very early flight. They didn't book a hotel room, and all of a sudden they've all crashed in our room, and we get a knock on the door. Oh, you can't have this many people. Yeah, they're all leaving now. But they didn't leave. They just stayed the night, and we just had this full room, and like I didn't get a wink of sleep. I was like, because of the snoring and that, I was like, okay, well. And I had to get up a little bit later of a flight than them, but I had a late flight. But those are the sort of memories that we've had. Like we've had so many memories up there on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, mate, 100%. There's another one too where somehow Sock and I don't know, we ended up just going to the 7-Eleven and just dead set buying about 25 pies each. We were that munted, mate. And I remember waking up in the next day, mate, and there's sauce all over our faces and pie crumbs from us on the breakfast.
All around him on the floor. I'm like, what the heck? I think he got more on the floor than he did in his mouth.
Those Gold Coast pubs, mate. What's
Cavill
that
Avenue.
street? Cavill Avenue, mate. They're dangerous places, mate.
What about
us,
Steve
lads.
Zonta? We left him behind. He was staying in the same hotel as us, and he wanted to kick on or whatever. And then next day we about to go on the bus, and we see him there complaining to the guy at the front desk there, and he's telling us that he'd been robbed. We go, mate, we're thinking he bought some Sheila back and she robbed him. No, he decided to be a kind bloke and let a guy crash that he didn't even know crash in his room. And shout out to you, Pothole.
Mate, Steve. Yeah, Pothole, he's a legend, mate. I remember going to watch West Ham and Liverpool with him, mate, in the pub there in Surrey Hills. And mate, the games don't kick off until, sometimes if you're lucky, 11 o'clock at night. But I think West Ham was on at about 2 a.m. So we're sinking pints in there watching West Ham and Liverpool, and all of a sudden it gets to about 20 minutes to go, and Pothole's vanished, and he dead set went on the missing list for about 4 fucking days.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember because people were messaging me.
No one knew where he.
Everyone.
No one knew where the bloke was, mate. I was messaging him, I was ringing him, mate. I thought he'd ended up in a ditch somewhere, mate, or in the fountain at King's Cross, mate, a Nettie Smith special. But no, he turned back up again like as if nothing had ever happened.
Well, there was another time, if you remember, we were at the airport, and I heard the announcement that our flight been cancelled, and I'm going, was that us? Anyway, I went to the desk, and she said, yeah, this is what you got to do. Go to the out the front and check in. I'll tell you what to do. I said, okay. I told everyone, and you know the kidder that I am, I take the piss all the time, and no one believed me, and they're like, shut up, Joshua. I go, okay, see you later, I'm going. And fair enough, it was true, but then we got transferred to Qantas flight. We had to go to Brisbane. Then we had to get a bus from Brisbane all the way to, we had 2 choices, Dreamworld or the airport. So we thought, well, stop off at Dreamworld. Except they didn't drop us off at Dreamworld. They dropped us at a service station just down the road, and I just remember seeing a cab. I was lucky that I just seen a cab. He was ending his shift, and he was like, "Oh yeah, quick, I'll take you guys." And We ended up giving him a big tip for it or whatever, and because he called another cab for everyone else. But I remember there was a.
Yeah, that's right. There ended up about 7 or 8 of us in that one cab, eh? Like I remember Rusty was there as well.
Well, a few of the others are trying to get in that cab that I used to hail down first. I was like, no, stuff that. I'm the one that caught it. I'm the one that seen it. Stuff his. So we all got him. Said, but we got him to call another one for them. So, but yeah.
The Gold Coast never disappoints, mate. Never. A
couple
disappoints.
of other memorable.
If you can get up there, everybody make it a priority. If you can't do it this year, make it a priority for next
100%.
year if we play them up there, because you won't regret it.
We're going to be in the away supporters bay this week. 17-1 tickets still available. It's a GA section, so get your tickets through. I think it's Ticketmaster. So, but a couple of other memorable games. I remember playing up on. It was the first year we played up at Cairns at Barlow Park there. It ended up being 30 points to 24. It was a very tight game. It was kind of hanging by a thread. We hit the lead, and all of a sudden it looked like we were going to run away with it. And then the Titans started coming home strongly, and Albert Kelly was starting to tear us apart. And then he made a breakdown, and it looked like he was going to score for all money, but GI just, and that was his cousin, put him out to touch. It was a brilliant tackle. We've seen him do that on many occasions, and he saved our skin that day. But then there was another one. I think it was 2021. Dave Fafita tore us a new one in the first half. He scored a hat trick in the first half. We were down 24-10 at half time. And then all of a sudden, Benji Marshall just came on and opened the game up. We ended up winning that 40 points to 30. That second half, it was the first time I think that was the first time we wore the Navy uniform for Anzac Day. So it looked like a totally different side out there. But kind of that second half just typified the year that we had, where we just were an attacking threat everywhere. We could just flick a switch like that and score from anywhere on the park. And do you remember the one in 2018? You and Lauren were there. Ended up being 18-16. It was a very tight game, but Keenan Hipgrave got sin binned. He came back on, and I think, I don't know if it was early in the second half, but he wasn't on for long, and he got sin binned again. It was like the first time. and that cost the Titans the game.
Yeah, it did, mate. I mean, and to be honest, like he wasn't like a dirty player or anything. Like I think that probably could be the only 2 sin bins he ever got in his career, and they were both in the one game about 10 minutes apart.
Maybe.
But he was he played the game tough, mate. He just did some silly things out there. I think he just he was getting a little bit frustrated. I think the South
got under his skin.
Were, yeah, and probably Mr. Cody Walker as well. So when once the Wiz does that, mate, and you allow that to happen, you're as good as gone. So.
True, but it works both ways for Cody. He may be able to at times be able to get under their skins, but people have certainly got under his skin over the years. But we've. Speaking of injuries, still no Cody this week. He's expected back. I think he's expected back for the following week against Para, Indigenous round. Cam Murray's not far off. Campbell Graham's not far off. I was told he was a chance this week, but who knows? With the back spasms, you could be feeling like you're all right all up until game day, and all of a sudden, I'm not right. It's just not right. So he could be touch and go whether he plays again this year, but they are expecting him back very soon. Cam Murray, I think he'll be back for the Dragons game. And the interesting one, we were all ruled him out, but Keon Kaloa-Matangi has come back and said he'll be back before the year's out, so he may play the final game, maybe come back for the Dragons game. So we're getting troops back, but too little too late. But as I've said, how many times have I said it?
Oh, yeah. And, mate, we talked about it last week, mate. I wouldn't be disappointed if they put everybody on ice and just said, nah, lads, don't worry about it. We'll just we'll see you in pre-season. But I mean, the fact that the boys do want to come back and get out there with their teammates and help us to a couple of wins if we can get them, mate, speaks volumes of them. But mate, either way, if they come back, mate, I'll be stoked. If the club rests them, mate, I'll be happy either way. It doesn't matter to me, mate. I just want them to get in come November when the majority of the players come back for pre-season, mate, and everybody's fit and enjoying being around the place and just ready to rip in for a big 2026. Because I just have a feeling, mate, that if we can keep the majority of our players on the field next year and they can be fit and healthy, mate, then there's no reason why this club can't push for a top four finish with the kind of football that we know that we can play. So yeah, hopefully, mate, next year's a better one for us.
I still think we don't have a top four squad just yet, but we could by the time we announced another signing yesterday in Warriors winger Edward Cossey. Big lad. He's 193 centimetres tall, 107 kilos. So we've been screaming for a big, strong winger. A lot of people out there are talking about why isn't a forward? We need a middle. We need, and we do. We do need another middle. We need a strong middle. We don't know what the outcome of our final squad's going to look like come even November 1, even come round 1 next year. There could be a lot of changes. You never know. We've seen it happen before. But what do you make of the signing?
Mate, look, I don't mind them. I think to be honest, if players, big mobile outside backs are available, mate, you got to have a little bit of a look at them. And I think that's two Warriors lads that we've got now off them that are both centres. Could both play on the wing as well if required. I mean, the blokes are big enough to bloody be used as middles as well if you got really desperate, So
well, we had Tyrone Munro play middle the other day, so anything's possible.
Yeah. I think we'll leave that experiment alone and never touch that again. Poor bloke, but yeah, mate. Look, the ideally, mate. To be honest, I'd love to see him zip over to England. I like the front rowers, mate, that come from the English game, because the English front rowers, mate, they're just mongrels, mate, and they'll just run and run and run and tackle and tackle and tackle all game. Mate, I love the Pommy forwards. I don't think
we did all right last time we went over there and got some Pommy forwards, didn't we?
Yeah, they went okay. They ended up playing a couple of first grade games for us, so it worked quite well. But yeah, mate, you go back to your Adrian Morleys and then obviously your Burgess brothers, and I wouldn't have mind seeing that big Wigan lad. What was his name? Andy Fowler come out here and have a crack at the NRL too, because I reckon he would have ripped it up. But Mal Riley all those years ago, and just legends like that, mate. They just come over there and they're just mongrels, and they just love running over.
Well, the Raiders
have
done all right in getting a few of the Pommy forwards over to them in recent years. What's his name? Matty Nicholson. He's out injured at the moment, but he's been very good for him when he played. So he stepped up.
And that's what's his name? Morgan Smithies, and then they've had Elliot Whitehead and blokes like that. So they've done pretty good, mate. And obviously, what's his name? The bloke that had a sook at the Tigers and Bateman. He was pretty good. I think he played his best footy at Canberra, mate, in that first stint when he came out. So they go pretty good, mate, the Englishmen, and I think if we went shopping over there for a couple of big boppers, mate, that would be that'd be lovely.
Just back to Edward Cossey. I've seen a lot of comments. I haven't seen too much of him, but a lot of the comments have been his hands are a bit of a letdown. So he's got an error or two in his game. Defensively, he's not the best defensively, but sometimes we've seen with players like that, they've been around for a while and they just need a change of scenery, and all of a sudden it opens up for them. So hoping to see that with him. And we've got, as I said, we've got a few, but what I liked about this signing wasn't so much the signing itself, was no one saw it coming. And it kind of gives us hope that, well, what else have they got planned? What else is happening in the background? Because that's the thing. There are things happening in the background that no one even knows. So this come right out of left field.
Yeah, and mate, that's honestly that's the way it should be. You know, the media and everybody can talk everything up, mate, in terms of signings, who's going here, where, there. But the only people that know 100% of the people within the club, and until a deal's done and that's signed on the dotted line, then the player's not there. So I think how they went about this was
Yeah,
pretty
well,
good.
the rumour that keeps popping up, it disappeared for a while. There was no talk of it, but it's popped up again. Is David Fafita, and I mean, he's a Dave Taylor sort of player, isn't he? That enigma that you just know he's got this skill that not many big guys have. You don't see it that often. But then you got the laziness, the inability to kind of dominate the game and put himself in a position to, when the going gets tough, he's not there rolling the sleeves up, that sort of player. So I guess you got to also look at value for money as well. What kind of money are you going to pay for him if we do? I mean, there may not be any interest there at all because these are just rumours, but it's one that keeps popping up.
I'd love a David Fafita that's got the right attitude, 100%, mate, because he's a game winner, he's a match winner, and David Fafita, a fully fit and functioning David Fafita is, mate, an unstoppable force in the NRL. And you're quite right, mate. He is that Dave Taylor type dude where he's a bit rocks and diamonds on you, but I think if he was to come down on not as much money,
Under Wayne,
and it might humble him a little bit. It might humble him a little bit, mate. And under Wayne, that might be the kind of influence that sort of turns him around and turns him into that game breaker that everybody sort of knows that he can be. And in terms of like laziness out on the field, I don't know, mate. I'd be a bit scared of Wiz if you were lazy out there, mate. He'll find you. And so I think playing with the caliber of your Cam Murrays and Cody Walkers and even young blokes like Tallis Duncan and obviously your Latrells and blokes like that, mate. I think it could be the catalyst to push Fafita into the stratosphere of one of the greats.
With the club, we kind of criticised the club about their communication a few weeks ago, and ever since then, they've really done well with their communication. The injury reports, I read an updated injury report at half time about Ryan Gray. Like there was a tweet that went out there. It was like updated during the game. They are doing a much better job now. And as we've always said, if we're going to criticise, we need to praise as well. But not only that, they've given us a full. They're doing these of these young guys that we've come through and given us an updated detail report of some of these young kids. And they put an article out last week. They spoke about a couple of players and just a couple I want to mention. They mentioned that Taj Alvarez. So for 26 and 27, he's on a New South Wales Rugby League contract, which basically is a Jersey Flegg contract, which could see him play New South Wales Cup as well. 28, he's on a development deal, and 29, he's in the top 30. I've got a feeling we'll see him play a bit of first grade before that. That could alter, that could change, but we've got him for 4 years. And we've seen how Taj goes. He's absolutely killed it in the SG ball. He's still quite young. Dane Jennings is another one. Next year, he's on a New South Wales Rugby League contract, Flegg contract, and then in 27, he's on a development deal. He's in the development squad. But the ones that come out yesterday, Talanoa Penatane, who's just come back from injury this week, he's now on the extended bench. He's got a development deal for next year and in the top 30 in 27. Matt Humphries, the same, development deal next year, top 30 for 27. Celestia Tato, who's playing New South Wales Cup, and he was actually a teammate of Talanoa Penatane in the Jersey Flegg Grand Final last year for the Sharks. He's got a development deal for next year, and there's a club option for 27. Maddox Fui, he's on a Flegg contract next year, New South Wales Rugby League contract. 27, development contract, and 28, he's in the top 30. Sorry. Elijah Kung, still suffering from that, yelling at the the Broncos game the other week. So Elijah Kung, 26 contract, 27 top 30. Yasmin Kusku, 26 New South Wales Rugby League contract, 27. He's in the top 30. He looked really good early in the year in the SG ball and was carving it up. And unfortunately, a few injuries hurt him. I believe he's now injured out for the rest of the season now. But hopefully we can see him develop further. The young prop from the Roosters that we got, it was reported Manly got this kid, but we snuck under the guard and got him. There was rumours before that we had him, then it came out that Manly had him, but now we've actually got him. And I apologise if I don't get the pronunciation right, but Philip Lavakiaho, he's on a New South Wales contract for 26, development contract for 27, and 28, he's in the top 30. So it's great information that we're getting to see from the club now and communication out there to tell us more about these young kids that we not all of them are going to make it. We know that. We've seen that before. And we always hear about these young kids that, this is the next big thing, this is the next big thing. We know that. And you've only got to go back and through history and look at Australian schoolboy squads. And you'll be surprised to see half those players make it regularly in the NRL. You may see a couple of names that you recognise that played a few games, but you won't see many that play 100 or more games. We know that. But even if a quarter of these guys come in and make something of themselves, it's a good thing. And there's a lot of kids that they haven't mentioned. They're doing another part next week. So, I mean, plenty of young kids to get excited about.
Oh, 100%, mate. And every one of those lads that you just mentioned there, they deserve that opportunity. They've played good football. They're good young kids. They're obviously great young men off the field as well, with their heads screwed on correctly. Yeah, no, good on them, mate. And mate, I'd love to see, in the perfect world, mate, every single one of those lads, debut together at one stage, mate. In 28. 27, 28, 29, whatever it is. So a couple of them you mentioned there, mate, probably will debut a little bit sooner. But for the rest of them, mate, good on them. And I think, well done to South Sydney for putting that information out, mate. So we sort of know what's going on. We got
guys like Lava Kihaho, you got Elijah Kung, Maddox Fui, Celestia Tata. They're all middles. Celestia Tata is probably the closest to first grade right now. He's another one on the extended bench, so he could possibly see himself next year playing a bit of first grade. I see him having that Royce Hunt type role that Cronulla had a couple of years ago, coming on a 20-minute stint, just going and rolling over the top of the sides. I don't know what happened to Royce Hunt this year. He struggled, and I think the Tigers started trying to use him as a starting prop, which he isn't. But anyway, we'll move on from that. And I want to bring something up. We're seeing a lot of people selling merchandise, designing their own merchandise. I get a lot of requests to the Burrow Facebook about selling these merchandise, to putting themselves out there to get a quick buck for themselves. I've had to delete. I've blocked those people whenever I do. I block those people from the group or whatever. But I see them up on a lot of other things. Some people fall for it. And for me, I'm going to buy my merchandise. I'm going to buy is from the club. Obviously, the Burrow sells merchandise. We've only really sold scarves, and what we do with that is we're buying these giant banners. You're going to see, like the banners that we had. We've done those over the years, getting flags, things like that. That's what the money goes to help with the game day atmosphere. But I'm talking about individuals pocketing money off the club's name. They show loopholes around it because you can't do anything that's got South Sydney Rabbitohs on it. You can't sell anything like that. People won't be able to sell anything with the Burrow on it. That's trademarked. The Burrow is trademarked just like South Sydney Rabbitohs. But what are your thoughts on people pocketing money from merchandise from the club, using the club's name and that?
I think it shows a lack of foresight. Like, can't you just come up with your own brand of clothing idea or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, they're making money off the back of an NRL side. doesn't matter, what football club, doesn't matter which way you look at it. They're making money off the back of that, and more fool people if they're buying that gear, mate. So, but I'm with you, pal. All my stuff will be purchased at the Rabbitohs shop, mate, online, and using my members code. So, I'll never be purchasing any of the shit they're peddling. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
my
well,
take on it.
I see it happen. There are fans that do it as well. I'm against it. I won't buy any products that's not through the club. I mean, obviously people are going to buy from places like Rebel, things like that. You've got online stores that are purchased. People purchase the jerseys for things like that. But my main go-to would be first option. I'd buy through the club, and that's where the money goes back into the club.
Yep, 100%, mate. It's where you want your money to go. People forget we're not funded by a football club, and we're not funded by poker machines and all that sort of stuff. We don't get massive grants from these clubs like your Panthers and your Bulldogs and teams like that. So we rely on our members to buy our merchandise and buy our memberships, and that's how we draw our revenue. If they're buying from other people, mate, they could be buying a South Polo shirt or a jersey or something like that instead of putting money in the pockets who only care about their bottom
Yeah, well,
line.
I've had a few people kind of speak to me about this privately, and I won't mention names, but they're obviously also upset that this is the case, and but it's just been happening for many years. So this is something that I just thought I'd bring up because it's something that has been spoken about by people, and we like to cause a bit of controversy on here, don't we?
What are you talking about, mate? We're
Yeah,
solid.
Well,
Nah, knock it off, you clowns! Like, stop piggybacking off the club, and you can come up with your own goddamn clothing range if you want to get one. So that's my take on it. So like I said, mate, I won't be buying any of the shit. So neither should anybody else.
yeah, well, that's about it for today. We're heading up to the Gold Coast. Mick, Paddy, and myself, we're heading up on Saturday just after lunch. Coming back Monday morning. I know a few others are going up. Cody, I think CJ's going up. We're few of the lads that we were at the game the other day. No doubt see them at the game, which always great catching up with the guys from up that way. Reminder that we are in the Way Supporters Bay 17-1. You can get your tickets through Ticketmaster. Next week, I'm not sure the exact bay we're in. I've got to look up for the game at Allianz. Although again, your season ticket will get you into the ground if you're a Burrow member. Just remember that. We're a Burrow podcast, so when I do talk about that, I'm talking about our Burrow members. So other people, you will need to, you would have got an email explaining what you guys need to do. I believe you guys need to redeem your ticket. So don't use your season pass there for others. Those that are in reserve seating, that won't work. You'll need to redeem your ticket there. But the week after, we got the Dragons, then we've got the bye, and then the Roosters. We're in Bay 25 for the final round. We're not going to sit in the away supporters bay for that because it's just the cost is just too much. $90 for an adult ticket to a regular season game is just a bit pricey for people. So, but that's what it is. They do.
That's just typical of that scum club, mate.
It is. Any last thoughts, Mark?
No, mate. Once again, very enjoyable. Always enjoy these chats with you, mate. And I hope everybody that travels up to the Gold Coast on the weekend has a safe journey and enjoys the game. And hopefully you can save some room in your bag to bring those 2 points back home.
I think I might have to pay a little bit extra this week. Although there's three of us, we can split the points between us. So. But this is the game that I'm really hoping for, that we can get a little bit of joy, because honestly, I want to get onto a podcast after a win. It'll be a different feeling. It's been a while. I think the last one was the Tigers one that we did, so that was a bit more upbeat, and And not just for us, for the players themselves that are putting in. I want to see them guys, especially guys like Jai Arrow, who just bust his ass every week, and you can see how much it's affecting him. I want to see him going off the field, and he's named captain again, so I don't know if he'll stay captain if Latrell comes back in, but he's named captain again, and I want to see him going off the field being happy, because he probably deserves it more than anyone right now, how much he's hurting.
Don't worry about him, mate. He played at the Titans for a lot of years, mate, so he's used to having his ass handed to him on a regular basis, mate. But no, he does. He tries hard, Joy, and mate, he gives 100% every game. Just if you see him up there, mate, tell him to stop being a cat and lying down for, getting flicked in the eye or something like that, or flicked in the ear. Remind him that he's not playing soccer, mate. It's rugby league. So just pass that on from me.
Will do, mate. Will do. But anyway, that wraps it up for now. I'm your host, Josh, joined by Mark. Go the Rabbitohs.
Go the Rabbitohs.